Boxing pros acknowledged Canelo Alvarez as the hardest puncher and said that he is one of the toughest opponents. This is definitely something Terence Crawford should be very careful of and not take lightly. During a recent interview, Canelo Alvarez opened up about his preparations for the fight with Terence, and he seems pretty chill. Have a look.
He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. I think this fight is gonna be in the books of the history of boxing for sure. That's for sure.
Canelo will defeat Crawford. Boxing pros caution Crawford that Canelo's punches are next level. Here is why. Russian fighter Dmitry Bivol, who knows Canelo well, having handed him one of only 2 official losses, explained that Canelo's power does not just come from strength. It is also based on placement, timing, and ring strategy. Canelo knows when to land his punches for maximum impact. His punches are not just heavy. They are also placed just right and break down his opponent part by part. It's a terrifying thought, especially when you consider that in his fight against Caleb Plant, Canelo landed 40% of his power punches, a rate of surgical precision that turns a boxing ring into an operating theater. Edgar Berlanga rates Canelo's power following their own fight. Berlanga did not pull any punches. He gave an honest, real assessment of how devastating Canelo's power is at close range. He spoke of the pace and explosion of Canelo's shots and how that power changes the fight altogether. But here's a startling fact for the Bud faithful. Terence Crawford has also been dropped in his professional career by a fighter named Egidijus Kavaliauskas. He weathered that storm and won, but Kavaliauskas isn't Canelo.
I fought them both. Like, what are the differences between them?
Canelo's stronger and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean. They both hit hard and you can see the strength when I was fighting against Crawford. He is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much weight? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go for fighting Canelo?
The question isn't just if you can get up. It's what a punch from a man like Canelo takes from you, even if you do. Even the legend's voice, Bernard Hopkins, drops a timeless truth that cuts through all of the noise.
A good big man will always be a good little man. Yeah. So I'm going with the big man.
And now Bernard Hopkins is doubling down on an old school truth. Size still rules the ring. But history is littered with exceptions that challenge that rule. Think of Manny Pacquiao dismantling Oscar de la Hoya or Henry Armstrong, who held titles in 3 weight classes simultaneously. Does Crawford belong in that rarefied air? As we began to discuss the topic further, Julio Cesar Chavez stormed into the conversation and immediately stepped into the fire. He is, in fact, only dishing out the insults, asserting that he does not stand by physics alone, and is, in fact, Bosan's claim that size does indeed matter. Put simply, things just escalated. Let's put this in perspective. Crawford's last undisputed championship was at 147 pounds. Canelo campaigns at 168. That's a 21-pound difference, a chasm that represents the entire middleweight division he is leapfrogging.
Julio, you know, like, what about Crawford Canelo? Crawford wants to take this. Why? Why? Mucho peso. Okay.
If Canelo's size and power will be Crawford's greatest challenge, Lonnie B warns weight may still be Crawford's kryptonite. And as the emotions start to rise, Demetrius Andrade shocks everyone. He is supporting Crawford but says he is not picking Crawford to win the fight. Andrade is not trying to sugarcoat this. He doesn't think at the end of the day Crawford is going to survive. He's obviously a fan of Bud, but he doesn't see it happening because, in his mind, Canelo's size, strength, and ring IQ are overwhelming. This is not about feelings. It is about the truth. To top it off, Andrade doubled down by bringing up the smoke he delivered in the Charlo fight. This is not just a matter of weight. This is a matter of raw power and soul-snatching ability. It is not just that Canelo hits hard. He breaks spirits and takes a player's heart away.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo because, like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down. And Canelo not even really a 68-pounder. He probably really should be at 60, maybe. And he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So, so be it.
And consider this. Canelo's head movement and upper body defense are so elite that according to CompuBox, opponents land just 21% of their total punches against him. He doesn't just hurt you, he makes you miss, he frustrates you, and then he hurts you. Andrade was seated ringside when Charlo broke down in the fight, and he doesn't believe that Crawford, even a primed one, can just walk through that fire. It is not about skill. It is literally about withstanding a storm painstakingly created to destroy you. Andrade does not see this as a close fight. He sees this as a beatdown. Chavez doesn't just lean towards Canelo. He closed the door on any Crawford hope. He has been around too long and has seen enough. In Ortiz's eyes, this isn't just about skills. It's about size, strength, and survival. And Crawford might be stepping into waters too deep. Ortiz acknowledges Crawford's pound-for-pound greatness, but reminds everyone greatness does not erase weight classes. At 168, Canelo is a different animal, stronger, smarter, and way more experienced. The leap from 147 to Canelo's world is not just significant, it's unkind. Not everyone makes it back from that jump.
I think Canelo has a very good punch, and he used to knocking out bigger guys. Crawford's coming from, what, 54? Yeah. It's 2 weight classes.
And then Jim Lampley came along, and then it crescendoed with the brilliance only he could provide.
Canelo's smart. Absolutely, he's smart. He knows this business as well as anybody. So no, it's not surprising that Canelo learned from Floyd and has employed some of that in the retention of his career. Canelo still knows how to make fireworks.
Think about that. Over 60 professional fights against killers like Gennady Golovkin, Miguel Cotto, and Dimitri Bivol, and his legs have never truly betrayed him. Is Crawford's power, which has been devastating at lower weights, enough to be the first to truly crack that foundation? This was not loose praise for Canelo. It was a textbook analysis on why Canelo is built differently. Lampley discussed everything from tactical brilliance, granite chin, elite ring IQ, and controlled aggression. He connected the dots from the Floyd Mayweather loss to the clinical way Canelo fights now. But Lampley just did not belong to the skills. He went even deeper to the mind.
But my guess is he will retire without incurring another loss because it's important to him to do that.
Lampley sees a fighter who can change gears immediately from the calm of a human being into a killer. Joe Rogan and Mike Vayon jumped in with their observations, a mixture of excitement and prediction, and stark reality about what is actually at stake.
Crawford Canelo.
I love it.
Do you?
Yeah, I love that.
See, I don't.
Crawford wants to do it.
I don't love it.
Why?
I think it's Crawford's last fight, so I'm happy he's going to cash out, and I'm rooting for him. But I would like to see him stay at 54 and fight Virgil Ortiz.
I'd like to see that too,
Yeah.
but the big money is Canelo.
I know.
This isn't just about adding muscle, it's about cellular level changes. An athlete's body becomes conditioned to a certain oxygen uptake and energy expenditure. A sudden 15 to 20 pound jump can tax the cardiovascular system in the championship rounds, turning speed into sluggishness and crisp punches into pushes. Will Crawford's gas tank be the same fire hydrant it was at 147? This isn't just a weight class jump, it is jumping into danger, legacy, and huge money.
No, Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money?
Yeah, he needs the money.
Jumping classes from 147 to 168 without a detour at 154 seems crazy, and it might be a final move. I'm sure there is an acknowledgement of the grit, but there is concern for the cost. Joe Rogan pulled no punches, saying that even if Canelo isn't at peak performance, he is still an animal in the ring.
Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive. And then you have Canelo, who probably isn't the same guy as he was just like a few years ago,
Right.
but still one of the greatest of all time, still has brutal knockout power.
This wasn't just nostalgia. It was a wake-up call about what Canelo still brings to the table. Joe Rogan gave Crawford his flowers, no doubt. But when the topic turned to Canelo's raw, fight-ending power, his tone changed fast. From the crushing KO of Amir Khan to the head-snapping uppercut that disintegrated Billy Joe Saunders' face, those memories still loom large over the sport. Davis is clear on what Canelo will bring to the table, and that is not an adjustment in weight class. Davis put full respect on Crawford, but did not mince words on the truth. A focused Canelo is a nightmare. Davis expects him to come in faster, stronger, smarter, and realize what he will be fighting for. In a moment of self-awareness, Davis returned boxing to its most basic premise. Weight classes exist for a reason.
Getting too much into that. Right. Weight classes is there for a reason. And when you're lighter, you can do different things. When you're heavier, you can do different things.
He summed it up directly. Size is everything. Higher weight means there are more physical tools than just your skills. There is also mass, reach, and power. It's a matter of pure physics. Force equals mass times acceleration, FMA. While Crawford may have the acceleration, Canelo has the mass. When those two forces collide, which variable will prove more significant? That is the billion-dollar question. Cheyenne Davis pointed out very clearly that what works at 147 does not necessarily hold up at 168. Then came Juan Manuel Marquez with all the cool confidence of a fighter who backs Canelo with no hesitation.
Canelo Alvarez is a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He defeats his titles.
Marquez sees championship DNA and lists all the boxes that Canelo checks. There is strength and experience, and the way he dismantles tough contenders like William Skull. Marquez was very clear that this is not just about belts, but dominance, and Marquez clearly sees the weight gap, and even Crawford's great talent may not be enough to bridge it. This is a critical observation from a master technician. Was that slowness a one-off adjustment period, or was it a glimpse into a physiological ceiling? A preview of what happens when a speed-based fighter carries a much heavier frame. Marquez gives Crawford all the credit. Elite skill, slick defense, beautiful combinations, but doesn't see that being enough at 168. He has seen Crawford struggle with the step up in the past, even slight differences in speed, concerns around his power, and now he is taking a jump of 2 divisions. Even with all of Bud's natural gifts, Marquez says it will be too much. And then there was Roy Jones Jr. cutting through the noise with proper perspective as only a legend can. Roy was not worried about the trash talk or the headlines. What fascinated him was Crawford's hunger. A man chasing his legacy rather than simply wins. But as Roy said, you can't eat that hunger at this level to win a war. Then he keyed into the essence of what makes Canelo dangerous. And if anyone has the right to make that claim, it's Roy Jones Jr., the man who jumped from light heavyweight to win the WBA heavyweight title from John Ruiz. He is the living embodiment of that theory. He broke it down in a way only a legend could. While many see weight as mere restrictions, Roy believes real talent, skill travels with you. Roy saw it, Roy did it, but here is the twist. This wasn't merely praising Crawford, it was also a soft warning. Canelo's power isn't simply weight-based. In fact, it includes precision, timing, and years of experience on his side. If Crawford can't take it one time, all that skill may not matter. That's where it gets risky. I thought when Lonnie B gave the humans some reality, too. He made a point that others were too busy riding the hype train to see.
That's different. You can't really judge because you just hear the push. You can't really judge it by that. because he couldn't stop Machinoff from coming at him. And he's a 54-pounder.
And then, sadly, came the moment when Lonnie B presented it plainly. The thing many fans of the sport refuse to hear, but need to.
Canelo's going to be more composed, a lot harder. See, Canelo's a lot harder to hit than people think.
Canelo isn't just heavy-handed. He's sharp, patient, and lethal. He's efficient with his punches, doesn't take unnecessary risks, stalks, studies, and attacks when the time is right. Then Crawford's heart, his desire to fight, through anything, is what gets him clipped. And the stats back this up. In his fight against Sean Porter, Crawford was hit with 79 power shots before scoring the stoppage. Can he afford to absorb even half that number from a puncher with Canelo's concussive force? Against a sharpshooter like Canelo, one solid shot can change the course of the fight in a split second. Then Lonnie B came in again, and this time he was really telling.
Crawford is a great fighter. As far as the defensive and offense together, I think Crawford gets hit a little bit too much sometimes.
He wasn't presenting it as a prediction, but as a warning. It wasn't an analysis of what we might see. It was a horrifying review of what can happen when an overzealous fighter such as Crawford, eager to take a lead, goes against a methodical cold killer like Canelo. Lonnie acknowledged that Crawford may be able to handle the early rounds, but as the fight goes on, as the rounds tick by, the pressure builds, the danger mounts. And that is exactly Canelo's domain. That is where you can become suddenly vulnerable with one mistake. Because to Canelo, it isn't just skills, it's skill, and surviving the storm before it consumes you. This discussion of Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford has sparked an abundance of excitement, bold predictions, and strong opinions from legends, pros, and fans. After hearing so many breakdowns and expert opinions, it becomes clearer that Canelo is not like other opponents. He is not just powerful, but patient. He has experience, and he can take a punch. While Crawford may dictate the early rounds with movement and boxing IQ, the real test begins after round 6 when Canelo's pressure, timing, and body work start to wear on opponents. If Crawford's heart takes him into the fire and gets into exchanges, it could be a bad end.
You know, what about Crawford do you think can bridge the weight gap? Or like with you, what did bridge the weight gap? Because a lot of people are just saying, hey, Canelo's just too big for someone like Terence.
That's true, but you know what? There's always a way. Put it that there's always a way. There's always a way to win.
So, we ask you, do you think Crawford could handle Canelo's power and pressure for 12 full rounds? Will his speed and footwork keep him safe? Will Canelo's experience and strength prove too much as the fight drags on? Can Crawford stand in the fire and still win? The question isn't just if Crawford can win. The real question is, can a masterpiece of skill and technique dismantle a monument of power and experience? We are about to find out where the line between greatness and weight classes is truly drawn.